This is what Jesus says about the devil. John chapter 8, verse 44. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth because there is no truth in him. When he speaks of falsehood, he speaks what is natural to him, for he is a liar and the father of lies and of all that is false.
Relax, I wanna help you feel less tense. What happened, Doc? I thought that you and I could be best friends. All of a sudden you just disappeared and went AWOL. Going to church don't mean your soul ain't cursed. Get paid, dog. It's time you let those pieces alone and replan. As you bow to me, I'll show you how to be a real man. You'll need some status if you want them go-go hardies, cause this nigga wanna kick you with some broke nobody. The dollar green, the piece of 50 guns in front of you, that's all you need, and you'll be pretty much untouchable. What has the so-called God ever done except for tell you to worship his cursed and fraudulent son? If people are imperfect, then the Bible's stupid, cause you're believing in the verses that were written by some humans. See, your life is sad in this, you get applause or get a job until you realize the fact there is no God.
It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. This is the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad.
Oh, but would forgiveness be a cold heathen? Cause to survive in this biz would mean you can't show weakness. Why even take your soul through unknown views? Boy, I think it's time for you to make your own moves, because you won't find God unless you're worth more chips. Just know that if you wanna find love, you gotta work for it. Please, you need to drop the Bible and just listen. Climb the system, cause life is just survival of the fittest. I don't mean to burst your little comfortable bubble, but the chips and the bling are things that make a woman love you. As far as God, he's just an old Christian tale. Think about it, what kind of God will leave his own kids in hell? Although there's historical fact that Christ lived, do you really think it's possible to act like Christ did? Since there's no God, no need to kneel, Peter. So let's forget Jesus, in fact I'm not real either.
This is the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. This is the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad.
Good. The world is mine, stole eternal joy from all the boys and girls combined. Women following the magazines and glamorous ads. The guys will find me in bravado, flash of status and cash. See, I'm speaking to the masses through songs and by the millions, while the evil's passed on to their children. If I had to choose a body part that I like, well, it's the eyes then, cause with these fools, see what eyesight can blind them. Although the Lord's grace is undebatable, I love telling sinners and killers it's just it's way too late for you. With drug abuse the brain dies, not knowing that the spirit of God produces in you the same high. So narcotics, evil and green, I'm living proof. Kids, the God's chosen people are weak and pretty stupid. Why am I so bent on spreading human despair? Because he kicked me out of heaven and he wants you there.
This is the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. This is the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad. It's the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad, the devil's ballad.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.